My name is James Williams Jr. This is Comfort Habit number 2. This video is basically called Food for Thought. And it doesn't have a damn thing to do with food. If you are under the age of 15 years old, please don't watch this video. Please go find something better. Go to my Kung Fu Havoc 1 channel. Watch me work it out. Watch my tribute to Trini, the Yellow Ranger that passed way too soon. Watch anything but this. Alright? This video will have some racist overtones. And there are some things, that you can't protect your kids from. But I would like to protect your kids from this, because it's very important that I make this video, and it's very important that I tell your kids not to watch this. Kids need to be kids. They need to stay as children as long as they can and keep their innocence and their wide eyes open. So when the harsh reality of being an adult comes in and slaps them in the face, the way it has done all of us, they'll get that same joy. Alright, so here we go. In my other video, I talked about how certain people don't know what my race is. This is where your food for thought comes in. Alright, as a man of multiculturalness, again, for those who don't know me, my name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2. My ethnicity is multicultural. My birth certificate says Negro. Alright, I was born in August 1973. So apparently, there's some things going on in the United States where mixed kids really didn't have a whole lot of identity for birth certificates. And so whatever you were assigned, there you go. My birth certificate does not have multicultural on it. It has Negro. That means I'm black. Alright? I do not deny my black heritage until somebody black does something stupid, and then we get fucked. It's the same thing I say in every video. I do not deny my white heritage. I do not deny my black heritage or my Native American heritage until somebody of one of those heritages does something incredibly stupid, like a week and some change ago with Miss Julianne Rainbird. Thank you for making Native Americans on the radar by stealing an RV. Really good job. Now that's neither here or there, but I want to point that out so that people know that I'm fair, because I have made videos of anti-blackness, and I've made a video now of anti-Native Americanness, because no matter what your race is, no matter what your gender is, that's a shield, by the way, all people of all ethnicities, of all genders, are good and bad. There is no escaping it. You personally don't have to be a bad person. You choose to be a bad person, you have to live with the consequences. It's the same thing with you being white, black, or other, in deciding to hate someone because of their race. So, let's get down to it. Your food for thought is really quite simple. I touched on this in one of my other videos. It's probably being posted as we speak, or it's being posted by the time you're getting to this one. Maybe not, because this might be a smaller video. Just depends on your speed or whatever. When I was younger, I had a lot of racial incidences, and sadly, most of them have been from black people. I have been in a crowd of black people who will be talking about something very important to black culture, and then they'll look at me. And while they're looking at me, they're saying, maybe we shouldn't talk too loud about this situation because we don't know what that guy is. Yeah, just like that. We don't know what that guy is. But back then, they pointed like this. Alright? So, in the Army, I was taught we point this way. Sometimes the Navy points 2 fingers. But the Army, we point the whole goddamn hand. Now, I'm sitting in crowds of colored people. Mostly black people. From America. And I have been the victim of reverse racism. I've had people say right in my face that we can't talk too loud on certain black subjects because James, that guy, he's not all the way black. He may go home and tell his white parent or another, or his white grandparent, what we talked about. And they're going to tell their white friends. And so on and so on. Like that Brooke Shields commercial. So on and so on and so on. Well, here's the funny thing about that. I've never met my white grandparents. Now, my mom's mom is Native American and black. I've only met her adoptive mother who's black. I've never met her real mother, because her real mother tried to kill her. At least that's the story I was told, and I'm going to leave it right there. It was the story I was told. Does it make it true? Who knows? I'm not going to go ask my grandmother if her mother tried to kill her. It's what I was told. You leave it there. You don't get into other people's business like that, even if that person is kin to you. Alright? My mother's father, he was mixed. He was black and white. Hard to tell if he was Native American or not, because if you look at my mom and see how white she looks, my mother's father could pass for a white man with a tan, and he didn't get dark until he died. And he died when I was 6. So, to know him was to love him, and to go down to Nelson County on the weekends and visit and have him carry us on his shoulders and go down there. He's a strong motherfucker, because anybody who can put a kid up on his shoulder and carry 2 pails of water like this without bending, flinching, it's just old country, man. As I'm growing up, his color, my grandmother's color on my mother's side, they were never a factor. No. Now let me switch to the father's side. My father's father was black. Straight up black. I don't know if he was black from America or if he was Aborigine, but we just gonna leave it at he was black. My father and his siblings all look closer to black. Like on my mom's side, we're all light-skinned and we look mixed. My father's people, they all look black. But every generation under them, like my generation, we all look mixed. Now, my father's mother was Native American. Her mother before her was Native American. And as my favorite aunt on my father's side would say, she only liked y'all because y'all were lighter skinned. Alright? So that should tell you how that worked out. And my great-grandmother Ada, I spent a fuck ton of time with her. She died when I was 12. I spent a fuck ton of time with her. She lost both of her legs through gangrene. And it wasn't until she died that I didn't spend time with her. Now, I only got my time with her in the summer months because I live in Charlottesville, they live in Smithville. Alright? And she's from the Powhite Reservation. However, when I Google searched and all that, she's listed as mulatto instead of Cherokee Indian. So the government has taken away the names and the birthrights of Native Americans. And at the time, when I was younger, up until the 5th grade, I didn't even know I was part of Cherokee. I just thought I was black with really good curly hair. Alright? Once I found out I was mixed, the ball game changed. Alright? The whole ball game changed. Because not only now am I getting treated differently by black kids, I'm getting differently treated by white kids. I didn't have any Native American problems until I got grown. Because Grandma Ada never took us to the reservation. We never met her family. All I had was my Grandma Ada and my Grandma Bay. That was the only Native American influences we had. And no, we didn't do any rain dances. She showed me one once. I can't remember how it goes, but it was like, it was almost like the Samoan haka, only feminine. Which is why when I posted those rain dance things or those powwow dances, I remember her doing something in that fashion. But 6-year-old brain versus 45-year-old brain doesn't process like it did back then. So yes, I've gotten stupider over the years. But, you know, I remember the stories. How they really couldn't go to the white school or black school and they had no bus for them. So they had to walk miles and stuff to school in their little moccasins and all that shit. And I remember that. Now, how much of it was true, I have no fucking idea. But no one's going to go and call their grandmother a liar to her face. Alright? Now, my aunts and them would be like, well, your grandma Ada, she really liked y'all mostly because y'all were lighter skinned. She didn't really like them when they were her grandchildren before they were grown, etc. And my late Uncle Bruce would say, whenever the old Indian woman got mad, you knew it. So, that being said there, you're like, okay, what does that mean? Because when you're a kid and someone says something about the old Indian woman, you don't know what that shit means. Kids aren't racist. They're taught racist. I learned racism really, really early. And not because my grandmother was racist, but because people my age was racist. Because people would be in a crowd and be like, okay, well, we can't really talk too loud about black elements because James ain't a real nigger. He's half nigger. And we don't want him going to tell his other half of people what we talking about. Now, on the same cape, you know, I got that same shit from my white friends. You know. Hey, you guys hear about that? Hey, wait, we can't do all that because James is right there. And he's not really white. he's half black. And we don't want those black people to know what we talking about. How do you think that makes a kid feel when he doesn't know where he is supposed to fit in? He doesn't know if he's going to be cool with black people today and bad with white people today, or vice versa. It only got worse once I hit the 5th grade and found out I was part of Cherokee. Now the blacks and the whites don't like me. And there are no more Cherokees in school because there were never any Cherokee Indians at Burley Moran or at Walker. There were Indians, but they were Aladdin Indians versus Tonto. Yeah, Tonto, because one time in between middle school and grade school, somebody called me Tonto, and it really pissed me the fuck off. I didn't have a bow and arrow, so I couldn't do anything about it. In fact, I don't recall Tonto even having a bow and arrow. But for the sake of argument, I didn't have a bow and arrow, and somebody called me Tonto. Alright? And then when my first acting job was in the 4th grade, and I played Tiny Tim, because I was the tiniest kid in class. And they made me play Tiny Tim. I didn't want to play Tiny Tim. My dad came to the show, but I didn't want to play Tiny Tim. I didn't want to do it at all. But somehow or another, I was Tiny Tim somewhere between 82 and 84 at Burley Moran School. Didn't do any more acting after that, and then breakdancing happened, and somehow or another, I learned how to breakdance a little bit, and the school put on a show. And guess who had the breakdance? That's right, this guy. So, that was that. But doing some of those talks, you know, the lighter skinned people, if you are black and your skin's this tone, your ass is mixed. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's a whole nother ballgame. And some of us mixed people get good hair, and some of us don't. Excuse me. I'm one of the fortunate ones that got good hair. Now here's the sad news that comes with good hair. Excuse me. Jesus, I hope that's nobody I know. Yeah, car wreck. The sad news with getting good hair is that, depending on how good your hair is, you can't get black men's haircuts. I can never get the Gumby. I can never get the box. I had a high top fade once. That was awesome. But it looked more like General Guile. And the people in high school called me Woody Woodpecker. Score 1 for the Woodpeckers. So, throughout life, you know, I would walk into conversations where when I would come into the room, depending on the majority of the people carrying the conversation, they would all stop when I come into the room. And they would talk on a new level. And they would be like, okay, so if they were talking bad about black people and they were white people, when I walk in the room, it goes silence, or the subject quickly changes. And then they're all like, hi, James, how you doing? I'm hanging in there. What's going on? Nothing. You just missed a good conversation, that's all. You're damn right I missed a good conversation because they changed the conversation as soon as they see me come in the building. And then they don't want to tell me what the conversation was about because it has something to do with racism. And that also works when it was black people. Alright? So you see where I'm going. And so when I made these videos about the casting calls and lists and everything, and why people like me are rarely working in the acting business, is because there are not people like me writing stories about these adventures that I've had as a child being misrepresented by people who don't want to talk to me because I'm not all the way black or because I'm not all the way white. And then when I found out I was Native American, it only got worse. And as a Native American, when I got grown, I had my first incident with a person from a tribe from somewhere, and they played wheelchair basketball because I was flirting with an important member of the tribe's daughter. We were roughly the same age. I might have been like maybe 2 or 3 years older than her. But the tribal guy came up to me, and I'll never forget this. I forgive him, and I've never forgotten this. But his exact words were, I want to word this without getting upset, and I want to word this without upsetting Native Americans. But his exact words to me were, her family is very important in the tribal community, and her parents would prefer her to be with someone who's pure blood and not you. Now, for a second, it took me to process that. If the guy hadn't been in a wheelchair, I'd have flipped his ass out, that sumbitch, and asked him about my pure blood rage that he just ignited in me. I mean, the girl was cute. She was awesome. I don't know where she is now. But this dude came out of his mouth. He's sitting in a wheelchair, and I have my honor. There are some things you don't do. You don't attack a defenseless person. Even if that defenseless person's tongue is so sharp that they're probably going to cut their own throat. This guy came right to me while I was flirting, trying to get the girl's name, number, what tribe they're from, and seeing if I can go and talk to the tribal elders and stuff like that. And this asshat rolled up. Like he would like the Flash. He rolled up lightning fast. Like I said, the girl wasn't so much younger than me. She was old enough where I could talk to her. You know, she was like 18, 19, and here I am 20, 23, somewhere in there. I was in my 20s. And I'm talking to her, and when he came up, you know, I guess he gave her some kind of look because she walked away. And whatever it was, he must have been related to her on some level or another. Because, I mean, he dug into my ass about this pure blood shit. And he's like, her family is a very important people in this community. Her parents would prefer to her to be with someone who is pure blood. Not like you. Now, all of this is happening in slow motion. I didn't touch the guy. I wanted to. I didn't touch the guy. I wanted to flip his ass out that wheelchair. Because I know that a lot of tribes have people in the tribes that they have assimilated into the tribes because in the olden days, that's kind of what we did. But I also know that a lot of Native Americans, squaws, were raped, and there was no such thing as abortions back then, which is how you have different skin tones of Native Americans. It's how you have different looks for Native American tribes instead of pure blood where they look more Asianish than myself. And I said, well, sir, first off, you have no idea what we were talking about. And second off, she's a grown woman who can make her own decisions. Yeah, but it ain't about what she wants. It's about the family, and you're not of pure blood. What else are you mixed with? I said, well, what are you talking about? I said, because I'm part Cherokee, I'm also part black, and I'm also part white. He said, and see, therein lies the problem. You're only part Cherokee. You're not all Cherokee. If you were all Cherokee, this probably wouldn't have been an issue. But we don't want her messing with someone who's not pure blood. At this time, I said, look, dude, I don't have no problem with that, but I have a really big problem with how you approach me on that. You know, you ain't got to send her nowhere. And you ain't got to embarrass me. I didn't ask to be born of non-pure blood. But I'm here. You know, and I relate more to my Native American side than I do to my black side or my white side. I just do. I always have and I always will. And if don't nobody like that while I'm posting this, well, feathers to you. Anyway, after the conversation was over, I kind of didn't know how to do it myself. Because the wild side in me, being both black and Native American, really wanted to flip that fucking wheelchair while he was in it. But since he might have been kin to the chick, that would have probably ruined any chance I had with her, so I just walked away. But I walked away angry. And it's not something I like to do. Because, see, these hands is all I own. And had he not been in a wheelchair, oh, we would have been at it. You know, it wouldn't have been a question about that shit. We would have been at it. Because my pure-bloodedness don't have a damn thing to do with my ability to love a woman, you know, regardless of what tribe she comes from. But this fucker really fucking pissed me off with that shit. Yeah, and I was like, you know, if this man wasn't in a wheelchair, and if he wasn't, like, old enough to be my father, I'd have flipped that son bitch out that chair. And went to it. But it wouldn't have done any good because that's not the right thing to do. People are entitled to their opinion, and we have to accept it. Whether we like it or not, people are still entitled to their opinion. I have had these incidences happen. And then I've had some not so racist incidents happen. When my sibling was working at Burger King, and I had to go pick her up, this young white fella, could have been more than maybe 15. I was outside, waiting for her, standing outside, you know, just like this, and he came in. He was one of those last customers, one of those last minute customers that know you close at 9 and they show up at 8:52 or 8:54. Or my favorite, 8:58, which used to have 2 minutes before you can shut off that damn grill and you have to cook them food. So he showed up and the first thing he said was, "Hey guy, are you some kind of Indian?" And I cracked a smile because I couldn't really resist it. I wasn't mad, but I usually only smile when I'm mad. And I cracked a smile and said, "Yes, I'm some kind of Indian." Because I got so sick and tired of life and people not knowing what the hell I am. And I just caved. I said, "Yeah, I'm some kind of Indian." No. And the thing was, I could have broke down the genealogy and said, "No, I'm just half Cherokee, half black and half white." But when you say it so many times and no one really is listening, you just go ahead and be like, "I'm whatever fucking race you want me to be today." And that's pretty much how I live every day now when people ask me. And I've made videos about this where, you can approach me on my race. I'm not ashamed of my race. But I don't want to have to explain it to everyone 10,000 times, which is why I have some of these videos. But I still managed to find out I'm explaining to people 10,000 times. After that, I also tell people how when I was 16 until I was 19, that I worked at Kegler's. And here in Charlottesville, at one point in time in the 90s, Kegler's was practically redneck central. So if I've pissed anybody off with that statement, I'm sorry, I can't take it back. And if you're from Charlottesville, you know damn well from 1990 to like 94, 95, because I graduated in 93 and I quit working at Kegler's right after graduation. But from the 90s to the middle 90s, Kegler's was redneck central. And I worked there, so I know. There were maybe 5 black people on staff at the time I worked there. There was a guy in the back that worked the bowling pin machines. There was the guy in the front counter that took the money and gave you shoes. There was the 3 black guys that worked in the back, and there was me. Because no one knows what the fuck I am. So, and the Young Guns movie came out, and the Renegades movie came out, and that one guy, who's white, who called me chief for 3 years, every weekend, back to back to back, while playing I Got Friends in Small Places, the Tush Push, and whatever other Billy Ray Cyrus song was out at the time. And that's long and short of that. And everywhere I've gone in life, there has been someone who has noticed that I'm mixed, and they have said, "We have to change this conversation because we don't know who that guy is. We don't know what that guy is. We don't know who he's going to go talk to when he goes home." I'm a human being. My birth certificate says Negro. So I am definitely black, legally. Because back in the 70s, when I was born, they didn't have fancy names like multicultural. They had this one word that says other. My birth certificate does not say other. It says Negro. So I cannot deny my birth certificate. And I have applied for plenty of jobs, but one job in particularly, and that was at Tuesday mornings. There was a young lady who was darker than me. She was older than me, so I'm calling her a young lady because I don't know how old she was, but she was older than me. And she was management. Her English sucked because she wasn't from England, from America. Wherever she was from, she had a really thick accent. And I filled out the application, and I check black. And she looks at me, and she goes, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Ma'am, I know what color I am. My birth certificate says black. This is a right to fire state. I don't want you firing me for lying on my application." And she goes, "You don't look black to me." And I said, "Do I need to go bring my birth certificate?" So that kills that. And after all that, I have learned that, being mixed is awesome, but we're not represented. And your food for thought is, how many people are mixed and don't know it? And how many people are mixed and have gone through similar stories as me and are willing to share them? Henceforth, these things happen. But to close out, I have been in places where if somebody was white and they were talking about something that affected black people and they'd see me, they'd shut the fuck up. If it was a situation with black people talking about white people, and they see me, they shut the fuck up. Now, when it came to Native Americans, I've never had these issues because there's not that many Native American people running around here. And when I bump into Asian people, they assume that I'm either Hawaiian, Filipino, or Tiger Woods, and they pretty much, if they're talking about blacks and whites, they just keep on going because they don't know what the hell I am either. And I've had those issues, and okay, so be it. You know, it is what it is. In the end, we're all human, and we all need to respect the things that make us great, the things that make us different. I'm multicultural. I need to get my foot into the acting door so that more people like me can have heroes to look up to, like The Rock, like Tiger Woods, like other multicultural people that you don't know are mixed, and because if they look more white, they play white. If they look more Asian, they'll play Asian. And if they're not mixed but can pass as a mixed person, there you go. And they're getting all the work while I'm not. But that being said, I'm going to end this video on that note so I can start posting these things. I'm James William Sr. This is Cup Fabric number 2. Thank you for watching. And teach your kids right from wrong. Teach them that we all bleed red. And teach them that don't judge a book by its cover. Later.